Welcome, welcome. I am Dina, and this is Discussions with Dina. This is part two of the commentary with my special guest, Darwin Warrell. We're speaking on Jesus and if black people rely too much on Jesus, is that killing us? Should black people even have religion? Let's continue with the conversation. Here is Darwin Warrell.
Why? Because black people were basically in the same place. We were supporting each other. We was supporting the stores, the gas stations, the grocery stores. Everything was run by blacks. The schools, all black teachers. That's what it should be right now.
Okay.
But we've lost our way. We've lost our identity. I've had the pleasure to go to Africa last year.
Oh, that's
It's
something I
phenomenal.
wanted to ask you about.
Yes,
How in Africa, I see when I'm watching and I'm looking on social media that there
mm-hmm.
are a lot of people there that are now saying that they're Christians. And of course,
Yes.
we know that that's not original to that area. How do you think it became as it is today that people are now? Because I see them doing some of the most foolish things under the guise
Yes.
of Christianity that they're putting
Yes.
on the internet. What are your thoughts
Yes.
on that?
My thought is, first of all, like I started out by saying, colonialism. Europeans came out of Europe because whatever reason, their resources, they have no resources there. They have no, it's very bland there, very cold all the time. They can't grow crops. They left Europe to find haven for them. The places that they found, that they're still there, this place here that they now call America and Africa. When I went to Africa, I was shocked. I was shocked
And when did you
because
visit?
first, say it again.
When did you visit Africa?
This was October of last year.
Okay.
Yes, and I was shocked. I one of the first things I noticed that when we got out of the airport and got onto the streets of Africa, they have billboards everywhere. And when I say everywhere, they're all over the place. Of blonde haired, blue eyed Jesus, a white Jesus, everywhere. Even pictures of him smiling, looking real coonish. It just looked so ridiculous and it looked so out of place. So out of place. Catholicism is huge there. And this is as a result of colonization and colonialism of white people. They went around the globe doing this. This is why most religions acknowledge the Pope as the premier person or God on earth, you might as well say. When I saw when the Pope came out on CNN last year, every nationality was out looking at this man like you had Catholic Asians, Catholic Indians, and a lot of these people were of different religions, but they acknowledged this Catholic Pope as some type of deity, some type of the holy. This is the holy of holies. That is as a result of colonization and colonialism of white people.
Hmm. Something
So,
else that I've seen that doesn't look well on social media is that there are a lot of Chinese people now that are in Africa, and I have seen some of the worst behavior toward the Africans there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, it is so, to me, it's
It's,
so degrading and it just looks so bad that our people allow themselves to be mistreated in their own land. What are your
yeah.
thoughts on that?
When we went to the second day we were there, we went to the slave castle, the Cape Coast Slave Castle. That's in Accra. and we stayed in a place in Ghana called East Legon. East Legon, and it was about a 4-hour drive from East Legon to get to Accra, Ghana, where the slave capital was at. In the process of going there, we went by a gold uh, where they dig for gold.
Mm-hmm.
All of the workers were all Asian, all
Wow.
Chinese. If you look at all the workers, you might see a black face here or a black face there, but it was all Asians. And from what I understand, they've been pulling gold out of this gold vein in just this one part of Africa for hundreds of years. They've been doing this. This one hole is still yielding gold. So the resources in that land is like crazy. It's sustaining the world. And that's what this is all about. That's what
Wow.
this is all about, keeping us asleep in America and them taking over and colonializing Africa so that they can have access to all of those resources and eventually completely take over that land, which I would probably say they are better than 90% there already. We went to the malls. The malls have black workers, but their stores are all owned by Asians, Europeans, and Arabs. You see
Wow.
no black businesses with outside. When you go outside, you find a lot of black businesses, people hustling. One guy made a joke before I went to Africa, and he said, "Man, I've been to Africa. Africa is like a giant flea market." And another guy got offended. But when I went, I can see how that guy said that. I can see why he would say that Africa's a big flea market because most of our people's businesses is on the street. And even though you got nice weather and everything like that, we don't have the establishment.
Wow.
It was
In
a
their
real,
own country? Wow.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I mean, it just blew me away. That part blew me away. And as far as the religious piece, they're to me they are more seared with religion than a African American.
Which
They
is
just cannot
another.
see life any other way. They
It,
just can't see it,
wow.
and they're more attracted to the witchcraft aspect of Christianity. Christianity is built up of many different belief systems and religions,
Well, let me
including
ask you this,
witchcraft.
because I always wanted to. You said you went there last year. Was that your first
Yes,
time visiting Africa?
yes, that was my first time.
Now, let me also back that up with this question, because there are plenty of people that have been before you, and
Right.
they often come back and they speak of this. They enjoyed it, but they got a feeling from the people. There was a bit of disdain for black people that are from America. Did you
Yeah.
feel that when you were there? Is that something that you could agree to, or did you feel it at all? Is what I want to know.
Yeah, it is there. You have a certain some Africans who feel they got a certain, first of all, they think all of us are made of money. And when you get over there, if you don't have somebody with you that understands that culture and language, then you'll be paying top dollar for everything. They squeeze you. If you just want a coconut, those coconuts are 2 CDs, which is probably like 50 cents over here. So, but if you go by yourself and you talk in an American, they can tell. They could tell I was American before I even talked. So,
Mm.
they would have a set price in mind, but we had a couple of friends that we met over there that made sure they were giving us the right prices and things like that, and people
So
weren't
you
trying to
felt
get
like they were
over.
trying to, if you didn't have those friends, they would be taking advantage of you.
Oh, most definitely they would take advantage of it. Most definitely. Now, from what I understand, Ghana, which is where we went, is a little bit more hospitable. They love, they're genuine people. they're very loving, but because they lack and they think that you have, they're gonna want to befriend you. They're gonna see what they can get. They're gonna, it's just that's just goes with the territory. So but you meet some that's not like that. You meet some, which I met one guy, Nana, who worked at the port down there. He had his own car. He had a nice home and everything. So he really wasn't on that trying to get over and all of that kind of stuff. And he was basically our chaperone for the 30 days while we were there, making sure that, we got around, did some of the stuff that we needed to do while we were there and stuff. So, but yeah, to some degree, you meet some of the Africans that they're not real welcoming. But most of the people that you meet are really nice, genuine people. They're really nice.
Oh, good, good.
I liked it. I loved it, actually.
I would just imagine. I haven't been there. I intend on going, of course, but I always imagine just a Wakanda like, for lack of a better word, just black people running things. That's what you would expect on a black continent, of course, because I know there are different countries within that continent, but I expect to see black people in charge of businesses and industry, and that's what I would expect to see, merchandise and coming from black people that look like me. So I was so I'm surprised sometimes when I hear people say that it's not as much like that as we would expect.
No, you'll see the black faces as servicing you, but the people that own it are usually, white or Asian or Arab.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
But you got plenty of black people that's working for them.
On behalf of them. Wow.
Yeah, and it's really it's sad. It's not good at all. It's not good. I mean, I didn't leave feeling good about Africa, as far as the people. I mean, you can get a nice house there. I love that. I love the fact that, they have a nightlife there, which is really nice. That blew me away. I was expecting to hear a lot of reggae, and we went to several different clubs. I was expecting to hear a lot of reggae music and African drums and things like that. And it was not like that at all. A lot of hip-hop and R&B. Mostly hip-hop and R&B is what you hear in that country.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they're using they're used to our culture, using and hearing that over there. But they don't care for us personally. Is that the... some. I can't speak for all.
Yeah, right. Some of them. It's not all of them. It's some of them, and I think it's just a handful. They think that we're spoiled, and which I tend to agree with. I agree with them. We are spoiled. Black Americans are spoiled. We have let our guard down. We have all these expectations from America, and we constantly begging for acceptance from white people, and so I see it different than most black people see us.
So you think that black people are spoiled? You said you think we're spoiled?
Yeah, I do. I think we are spoiled in this country, especially if you go to Africa and you see how it is there for those people. And then you come here and you see how wasteful we are, how unappreciative we are. I can't imagine that there would be a Jesus, that this Jesus would come back for a generation like this, but not the generation that actually went through slavery, that was actually raped, where our grandparents was actually raped, where they were cutting off the genitals of men, where they was chopping off limbs and feet and dipping us in boiling hot oil and doing things, burning our women at the stake and hanging our women and watching them force a baby from pregnancy out to hit the ground only so that they can stomp on it and smash it into the ground. We don't recognize none of that. Black people don't even recognize our ancestors that went through that. Why would there be a Jesus to come back for this generation that don't even know who they are, where they came from, know nothing about the land of Africa? They have no. You ask most black people where they want to go, what they're going to take. I'm going to Paris. I'm going to Italy, child. We going. It's always someplace like that. We going to Germany, European countries. Why wouldn't you want to go to Africa first? That should be the place that you want to go. That should be the place that you want to spend your vacation dollars. But we are trained to hate that place. When I first told people that's where I was going, oh, man, why you want to go there? Why wouldn't I want to go there? That's how ignorant we are. We are ignorant. We're spoiled. We don't have a clue what's really going on.
But do you think it's completely our fault that we have been made this way?
I can't say it was completely our fault because we were kidnapped. We are prisoners of war, even to this day. So, in a crime, we were snatched. And in that whole process, they have literally beat themselves into us. When I went to Africa, they said, we need a black American to come here and run for president. And I said, why? And they said, because you're a black man on the outside, but y'all are white men on the inside.
I mean, that's a bit insulting. Even though there's truth to it, I find that a bit insulting. Because we could say the same thing to them. Because I just find it hard to believe that this is your country. This is the continent, the black continent. How do you allow others to come into your home and take control and tell you what to do and what not to do? This is your house. I saw on the internet where they had restaurants in Africa, Asians did, and they didn't allow the Africans to eat there. They wouldn't allow them to sit there and in their establishments and serve them.
I saw that.
How do you allow that? And then you have the audacity to come and try to scold us who have been, we have a legitimate excuse. Everything about ourselves were taken from us. So we have an excuse. My question to them that say this stuff, what is your excuse?
Right. They were affected by colonialism just like we are here.
Exactly.
It wasn't the same form of slavery, but the whole idea about the colonialism and colonization of Europeans is to have people thinking like you, bowing down and worshiping the same things that they bow down and worship. If they do that, then they think the way we think, which is why I took offense at first to what he said, but he was absolutely right. We have been made to think that way.
Right. But they have to. He needs to also do a self-analysis. Why do you need somebody else to come outside of your home into your home and run it? This is my home. Right. Nobody runs this but me and my husband. You're not going to come in my place and tell me what to do and how to do it. So he needs to do some self-analysis. That's my only gripe with them, because I think we are the same people. But this is this stigma that I didn't even know they felt toward us until I started reading and listening and hearing people's opinion. And I didn't even know, because I had this fantasy in my head that is the motherland. And I have heard some of the negative stuff and stereotypes and some of the nonsense that they say about us. How can you feel that way about your people? Because I didn't have, and I don't have a hate for them, but to hear them speak sometimes, I don't know where the disdain comes from, because I feel like some of them played a role in our bondage. Some
Yes,
of
they,
them are
yeah.
responsible. So that's just
Mm-hmm.
being honest. And to say,
They
I've
sold
heard
us
them
out.
say that they call us, what is it, cotters? Wild dogs? What is it? Why would you
Yeah.
label your people that? Your people that are lost? Why didn't you come seek us out and
Right. Right.
raise us up to that knowledge? We're your people. Those are just questions that people would normally ask, I would think. And
Yeah.
even as a child, I wondered, why didn't they send a ship for us? Why didn't they come fight for us and say, give us our people back?
One
But
of the things, one of the things that Europeans used that helped them tremendously with them establishing their Catholicism worldwide was the use of firearms. No other. They were the first ones with firearms. They got the technology from China because they saw how China was very skilled at making fireworks and things like that. And so Europeans saw that and began to buy a lot of these fireworks and figured out how to fire a projectile out of a weapon to kill you. So when they came to Africa, the first time it was in the name of love, and they were missionaries and they were spreading their gospel, and they managed to get a large number of Africans to convert. They killed a lot too. They killed a lot. There were tens of thousands, if not millions, of Africans that did not accept Catholicism. So, and there was a lot of them that killed themselves on the way over, that jumped over. Some of them, took over the boat and, tried to free themselves. I mean, it was a lot,
yeah, but
but
there were also separate tribes within Africa. I'm aware of that. And
hmm
as with all people, there was fighting amongst, what happens today, we fight amongst ourselves. That's why we haven't gotten farther along as we should be, because we tend to
right,
fight among ourselves. And many of these tribes would take, in their fighting amongst themselves, they would take people from other tribes and sell them or give them to these
right,
Caucasians.
right,
And they seem
right.
to forget that, because I saw one particular thing that was on a YouTuber's channel, and it was so sad it almost made me cry. And the reason why is because it was this young lady, and she was interviewing other Africans, and she was
hmm
asking about um, us over here, the black people that are descendants of enslaved people. And she said,
Right,
are they our brothers and sisters? And
yeah,
many of them said no. And I'm thinking, what has happened to them? This is where life began, and they would say something so asinine about their people. That was so disappointing. They said that they put us in a separate category. And that's
yeah, they
the
do.
issue I have with them, because I don't care if I birth a child and that child chooses a different lifestyle than what I taught them. It's still my child. I may not approve of it, but
Right,
that would still be my seed. So how do you benefit from disconnecting yourself from your people, or thinking
right,
that belittling us make you look better? It doesn't. It speaks a lot
right. It
to
does.
why
It
we,
does.
and then we accept the deceiver. We accept
Uh
them
huh.
wholeheartedly. We open our arms to them. We don't question them, but they're giving you hell. They're making your
Right.
life a living hell. And that's why I think we have to, even as black people in other countries, Africa, America, you have to sit down sometime and just be quiet and analyze what is really going on. While we're
Yeah.
hating on and towards each other, we are still being deceived by the master deceiver. And for them to
Yeah.
speak in that manner, I think they should really watch their words. and check out their own behavior, because it's such
Yeah.
a big contradiction for them
Yeah.
to say, oh, they're not my people, because that's what they were saying, as I was alluding to before, that we were what they called us black white folks or something. They said we were not connected to them. And I'm thinking, these people
Right. Because
have a colonized mind. You don't hear white people speaking like that. You don't hear any people speaking like that but us. And it's ignorance, because I don't
yeah.
care if my relative lives in New York or lives in California and I'm in Georgia. You're still my people.
Right.
And if somebody has abused you, you're still my people. It doesn't
Yeah.
change. And I think it's
A
just,
lot of them don't. A lot of them don't see it that way, And in all honesty, I can see what they're saying, that in out of the slave trade, whenever any one race takes over another race, the first thing they do is they start setting up their systems. Their belief system is the number one thing they do. They use the Red Cross to do that, and then they start mating. They start mating with their prisoners or their captives or their oppressors, the people that they're oppressing, and they have these babies that are technically now a mixed race. They're their own people, almost like what happened with Kemet. Egypt right now is a big population of mulattoes, but it didn't start that way. Egypt used to be called Kemet, and ancient Kemet was all dark-skinned black people. Greece invaded Kemet once, and then they introduced a lot of their religion shit. That's when our religions start mixing back then with Greece, this Greek mythology with Egypt. That's why people pull stuff out of Egypt and they think, oh, see, Christianity did start in Africa. No, you still got to go back. That shit came from Greece. There was a war. Greece took over and started mating with those people. And now, if you looked at Egypt now, it's a half the nation is mulatto. It's a lighter skinned race. They are light people, and it didn't start out that way. That's what they want to happen here in America.
well,
They don't want all these.
I personally am of the mindset that the black man is the original man. That is my
Right,
mindset. So every other
right,
people came from us. So I know that all of the people on this earth, there are darker skinned people in that group that they choose to hide and not put in the forefront, because most
right,
people
right,
have been conquered
right.
mentally. So that doesn't surprise me at all, because I always say we're
Yeah,
the original people. Black people and black women in particular, we don't have any reason to hate ourselves once you know who you are
yeah,
and
right.
what
That's
you
right.
have accomplished, because before any other people was on the earth, we were here.
Yeah, yeah. And I believe it was women. I believe that women are the bearers and the portals to life. It was no man here first. I'm sorry, I don't buy the whole Adam and I don't buy it. It was the woman. She had to be. She's the only creature that can bring forth life. A man can't do that. So when they come with that Adam and Eve stuff, I'm like, okay, here we go. It don't make sense to me. All of that don't make sense. But it does make sense to me that it would have been a woman first. So, and not only that, Catholicism and that story always depicts women in a lesser. Christianity does that. Christianity puts women under men. Christianity does that. That's not. We didn't come out of that. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't come out of that. Some some African countries had women running the country, and they called these women kings.
Wow.
That's in our history. So we have some strong, smart women in Africa. So you know, it's amazing, man.
So you don't think religion is the thing for us black people today?
Definitely not.
So what do you think is?
That's the number one weapon. That's the
Mm-hmm.
Europeans' primary weapon against black people. It has worked beautifully because you have black people now. You say something about Jesus, they'll damn near kill you. They'll try to take your head off, and
True.
they don't even know who this guy is.
Right.
They don't even know. 2,000 years ago, there was no Jesus. Your God did not look at this baby and say, oh, there's my son Jesus. What was that name? And then when you find out what that name is, which some people say is Yahshua HaMashiach, well, if it's Yahshua HaMashiach, why are we listening to Matthew, Mark, Luke, Paul, and John tell us about Yahshua HaMashiach? That shit don't make sense, no matter how you slice it. Jesus is a Greek word. If you like to do word studies, you got the word Zeus, Zeus. You got the word Medusa, Madusa. You got Pegasus. These are all Greek gods. Pegasus is spelled with the US, S-U-S, Pegasus. Then you got Jesus. That is a Greek name. Why do they depict Jesus as a white male? Because that is a Greek. Greeks are white people. It makes sense that this guy would be a white person. Jesus is not black. It was given to you with the intention of you acknowledging that Jesus is a white Greek God. Now you got black people trying to hang on to Jesus so much that they are saying, "Oh, Jesus is black," and they're willing to just change the shade of the man and still keep the doctrine in the book the same. If you change the shade of this man from white to black, and you call him now Yahshua HaMashiach, now you got to go to this book and you got to change all that shit. You got to start at Matthew and change all of that shit, starting with the name Matthew. What does Matthew got to do with Yahshua HaMashiach? How did them two meet? Why is somebody named Matthew telling a black story? It
Hmm.
just makes no sense.
Right.
It makes no way you slice it. But
Hmm.
black people always find a way to protect and justify all this stuff. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. The original Trinity was not Father, Son, Holy Ghost. The original Trinity came out of Africa, and it was always man, woman, and child. That's the original Trinity right there. Now they
Hmm.
replace that with three niggas, three faggots, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, three males. Come on, come on. This. We gotta start being real about this stuff.
Right. So, what do you think we need to do as black people to change our condition? What would you suggest today? What is.
The first, the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out a way that we all can get on the same page.
Unite?
There is
So.
power in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
With they got us divided right now. We are separated. We all over the place.
True.
Everybody got their own shit.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, you got your house. You too blessed to be stressed. He got his house. He living life like it's golden. He over here. He got all the Jordans and all the Bentleys, and so he's doing his thing. Everybody got all their own individual shit happening, but we don't have nothing going as a people
Ooh,
together.
so true. So true. Yes. I
So
agree.
the first thing we have to learn how to do is come together. As soon as we come together and we can just agree that we're going to be together and stick together, right there, that battle is done. They know that they have lost.
I
They
agree.
have lost. The whole world will bow down to black people if we just did that one thing. I tell black people what we can do in America. Christmas time, when it comes Thanksgiving, Black Friday, shut it down. Don't spend shit. Don't spend nothing until January 1st. When January 1st comes, not only will you have sent a very powerful message, but you will have crippled the world. Because it is our dollar that's really stimulating most of this crap.
Correct.
All this Christmas and Easter, going out buying all this stuff,
Frivolous
Easter clothes,
spending.
Easter outfits, thousands of dollars on Christmas, thousands.
True.
Just wasting money. If we can come together and say, all right, black people, shut it down, and we do it, oh my God. That's gonna be the awakening of the sleeping giant. They talk about the sleeping giant in the Old Testament. That's the true sleeping giant right there.
Yeah, but the thing is, we know that we're not going to get 100% of black people to think one way. So, and
Right.
the other thing is, we are, and I don't know what your view is on procreating with non-blacks, but because so many of us are in different areas and on different wavelengths, how do we get our people to think, get the united mindset? What would you think would be the best way?
It's very hard. I'm telling you, man, it's really hard. I agree with this, and the first time I heard this, it came from Farrakhan, and then I heard some other of our leaders say the same thing. They said that one of the biggest things that's got to happen in the black community is a large portion of us have got to die off. One of those leaders even said it this way. A large portion of the black community mind is so seared that they ain't shit. And they gotta go. I thought real. That was very hard.
That's real.
I remember I remember when the riots was happening in Baltimore, and I was looking on the TV, and I saw all these kids kicking over stuff, and I saw buildings burning, and I was actually excited. And so I reached out to some people, and then I look on social media, and I see all these people saying, pray, pray, pray. Oh my God, oh my God. And all I could say was, this ain't the time to pray. If you ain't prayed up by now,
you ain't
then what the fuck good are you? What good are you? And that came together for me right there when I understood when the man said, a lot of us got to go. The way that we think, we got to go. In a time like that, that was not the time to pray. As much time as black people spend in these goddamn churches, we should be prayed the fuck up for at least another 100 years.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Okay.
Another 100 years. All this praying and praying and praying. And where we at? Where we at today? We deceived. That's where we at. Everybody living life like it's golden, chasing after the American dream. And if you ain't chasing after the American dream, you live in the kingdom life. One of the two. Both of the same exact thing given to you by the same exact people.
That's right.
White people. Why? To stimulate this economy.
Right.
That's our job. That's our job. That's why black people is quote unquote free right now. Because we do a damn good job of stimulating this economy. If they send us this stimulus money, black people gonna get that money. We going to the mall. We gonna get some gold fronts.
I would have agreed with you if it wasn't for the COVID, but I don't think they're going to the mall with that because so many people are out of work and facing hardships. They may not go to the mall with that stimulus.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't have much hope for our people. I know that's bad.
You don't. That is bad. Don't give up on our people, because I feel like
I don't give up. I still share, but I find that when it comes to that religion, which, like I said, that's the number one weapon that was, they came with that first. When they came to Africa to attack us, they didn't come with guns, they didn't come with nothing. They came with a book, and that was their first line of attack.
Which
This
leads me
Bible.
to another question I wanted to ask you before we moved on to when you were speaking about being in Africa. I wanted to know if you, when you were over in Africa came in contact with any of what we would consider to be pro blacks, pro black Africans. Did you meet any of them when?
Enlightened Africans.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, no, no. But what I can tell you is that we were staying at this guy's mansion. This guy, he actually lives here in Baltimore. He's a physician's assistant, and he works here in Baltimore. And he's an African guy, and I'm friends with him. So he has a mansion over there. It's really nice. And I got pictures and everything. If we ever get together, or maybe I can email you some of the pictures. But I stayed in the guest house,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
Enlightened
But
Africans.
huh?
Enlightened Africans.
Oh, right, right. While we were there, he had a pool in the back. He had a nice pool, barbecue, and all of that kind of stuff. And so we had quite a few people that was expecting us. It's a friend of mine that we went. So they would come over and, start to have fun and in the pool and, and we sat around the table and I got to talking like we're talking now. And I got to saying some things that sparked their interest. Like I said, I asked them, did they know where Eden was? And they was like, Eden, where is that? Where is Eden? And I told them, I said, this is Eden. Africa is Eden. And then
Wow.
they was like, oh. And then I said, so if this is Eden, where would the Garden of Eden be? Where would that be?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was looking at me, and he was like, the Garden of Eden, where would it be? I said, where would you put a garden? You would put it where
Most
it's
fertile.
hot, where the sun is shining the most.
Yeah, the most
In
fertile place.
Africa,
Mm-hmm.
that would be the African Congo. If you go on the Google right now, Google Eden, the Garden of Eden, African Congo. Put that in on YouTube, and there's going to be some videos come up. There's one that's about an hour and a half. That talks about all the resources they have in Africa is chock full. They haven't even touched the African Congo yet. And that they talk about the oil that's there, the diamonds, the coltan. It's just so much there that they said that the Congo is so rich, so fertile, that if everything on earth was to die, the Congo alone could sustain the world for 20 years.
Wow. Wow, that's
That
amazing.
tells you how rich that area is. They fought over that area. They fought over that area just like they fought over where they got that oil in Israel. That all that's Africa.
Right.
All of that is
Libya, all
Africa.
of it. Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I started talking like that and telling them that, and then I started telling them, they were more interested in what I, had to say. It was most of those Africans were all Christians. Just about every African over there is Christian. I saw a few Kingdom Halls over there. I was shocked to see that.
Oh my
I said,
God.
wow, they got Kingdom Hall over here in Africa?
Mm, mm, mm,
I didn't know that. I was shocked to see that.
mm.
But they had the Kingdom Hall there. But yeah, I didn't meet many enlightened Africans. I did go to an African American Association for Ghanaians. This was a meeting. They have one once a month. And when I went to this meeting, these were all Americans who moved from America, different parts, to Africa. And I was shocked that it was mostly women. I was like, yo, man, women got way more balls than men got, boy. Because
Hmm.
men be scared. Men be scared. A lot of these ladies, this one lady said, I moved over here when they didn't even have the internet. They got the internet. She moved over there in the early 90s when the internet wasn't popping. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
popping. And she was saying she went through a lot of theft too. They stole a lot from her. She was a singer, and she had a lot of equipment when she went over there, microphones and things like that. And whenever she would do a gig, all the equipment would always come up missing all the time. And that is a big problem over there. You have to hold your cell phones. You gotta, because they steal. They steal. And they
Wow.
still will love you. They'll steal from you, but still smile and want to be around you. And even
Wow.
if you, yeah, and even if they know that they stole, they'll expect for you to forgive them because they say, well, you can get a new from America, you get another one.
Oh
Like you
my.
can, like you can just get it.
Oh my.
Yeah, there is a really, really, really different. I loved it. I loved that experience. I
Wow.
love it. Another quick thing that I noticed once I got there was when we had our first real meal. When I ate that food, I knew that the food we were eating over here was definitely contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
When you taste the food over there, it makes you say, "Oh my God, what am I eating at home?"
I hear that a lot. Everybody that has visited say
Yep,
that. They say it's
yep,
some good, wholesome food and you can taste the
yep.
difference. I think we're just
You can
eating
taste the
chemicals
difference.
over here.
Yes, GMOs. Most of the plants that we consume, most of the fruits and vegetables that we consume come from GMO seeds. They have all the original seeds in a seed vault in Slovakia somewhere. You can look that up too. You can go on
Wow.
YouTube, look that up. Yes, they do. And they make these GMO seeds, grow the vegetables, and then they use the seeds from these GMO. That's what we've been eating for the last 40 years.
You know, that
That's what it
explains
is.
why these diseases
Yep,
are so
yep,
constant and they affect us so harshly because even the remedies from back in the day, like your mom would say,
yeah,
suck on a lemon with some peppermint and it gets rid of that colon stuff. That stuff is
yep,
ineffective today because I remember the orange juice my mom, because I would always have the sore throat and stuff, and she would say get you an orange, drink you some orange juice. That stuff is ineffective today. And I think
right.
it's because of those GMOs, as you were saying earlier.
Exactly, exactly.
They
The
don't, and
stuff
that's
that's
why we're so
killing.
sickly today.
That's right. That's exactly right. And we weren't like this
Right.
when Europeans first came to Africa. One of the first things they reported back to their homeland, Europe. These people over here don't get sick.
Right.
They don't get sick. They're not getting sick over here.
And they
They
saw
healthy.
that. That's why they wanted us as slaves, because they
Yep.
knew. It was like
Yep.
they met a fabulous specimen of a man.
Yep.
They knew what they were getting.
Yep.
They
Yep.
knew.
You're right.
But I have
You're
one
right.
more question for you. I have really enjoyed talking to you. I have
Okay.
just one more question. There
Okay.
seems to be an overwhelming amount of black men today, and it's not a lot. I'm not gonna say every black man. I'll just say a lot on social media specifically
Yeah.
that has started these movements. And one in particular, SYSBM, um, MGTOW, and all that. Have you heard of those groups?
What's it called, Sam? What's the name of them again?
One of them is SYSBM. It's an acronym, and
That's
they call it Save Yourself Black Men. And then there's
uh,
one called MGTOWN, MGTOWN. And these are
okay. No.
supposedly. Have you ever heard of one called Red Pill?
Red pill. I
Yes.
did hear something like that.
Okay, what this is, a lot of black men get together and
Okay.
they speak against black women. I was just wondering if you were familiar with that. I wanted to know.
Oh man, I think that's terrible, man. That's not good. That's not
Mm-hmm.
good.
And I
Yeah,
just,
I wouldn't be a part of nothing like that.
oh, that's so
I
wonderful to hear.
yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be. I think black women is the opposite. We've been trained wrong. You know. I mean, black, like I just said, black women is the portal to Earth.
That's
You
right, to
can't get
life.
you can't get in the Earth without the woman. So you know,
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's not that's not. I watched this guy, Tommy Sotomayor, one of them guys,
Oh,
man, and
Lord. Mm-hmm.
he rides black women something terrible. And I'm not gonna say, you know, everything that he's saying is wrong. It's just how he's saying it
Mm-hmm.
and how he's putting it down. You know, it's just so damaging, and it makes black women feel horrible. They gotta feel bad. You know, I'm like, man, that's not good. We gotta figure out a way to communicate without doing that. You know, but we gotta figure out a way. I mean, that's why I told you. It's to me, and I don't see it happening. I think we too far gone. I think we are too far gone.
I think,
I
like
just
you said
think,
before, I agree with you that there are people that will have to transition. I'll
yeah,
put it like that.
yeah,
Because there will
yeah,
always be some of us that are in our right minds that will have to carry the torch. So
yeah.
I am glad to hear that you are not a part of that. And I know
So
you see
yeah,
that stuff, but I just wanted to know if you were aware. I'm curious because I see it on social media, and I'm glad to know that it's not a part of
uh,
most black men' everyday life and thinking.
yeah. I think that's terrible, man.
Good to know.
I would see that. Yeah, that's not
But
good.
I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I
It
have
was,
enjoyed speaking with you, and you must come back and discuss with me again because
yeah.
I really enjoyed this
Anytime,
conversation.
anytime,
Okay,
anytime.
so
Thank you.
I will be contacting you, and feel free to contact me and join in any discussion that you hear. Okay, thank you once again to Brother Darwin Warrell for joining us today. And I want to know what you think about the topic of discussion. Subscribe and leave your comment, and press the notification bell in the upper right hand corner. And if you would like to express your thoughts on any topic we're discussing, just drop me an email at discussionswithdina@gmail.com, and we will certainly make that happen. And as always, I want to thank you for listening, and I will see you next time on Discussions with Dina.